Hey folks, we're back. Thanks for waiting through those commercials. We will be getting into the finals here in just a moment. Or sorry, excuse me, the other semifinals here in just a moment. We're just waiting on Denver to come back as he went to BRB. But we have a couple of shout outs to get caught up on, so thank you very much to Meal Mage for the 34-month resubs as well. It's that time of the month again, Kappa. Smokey the Bandit threw in 100 bits. Thank you very much. Good to see you guys fall. Oh, yeah, we already shot that one out. Iberland for 100 bits, as well as dogs are best. I'm sorry, you're just incorrect. It's just, that's all there is to it. End of story. Hello Zergling for the 28 months. It says 8 Kate. And I think that catches us up. If we missed anybody's shoutouts, my apologies. But aLive is asking about if Neeb's on North America. And I guess if aLive wins this, we could probably play the finals on NA. Probably better than both these guys playing on Europe, at least.
Yeah, I think so. He was probably also asking to see if he was in Korea still, because he was also planning on going back to Korea, so there's a chance. I actually am never going to go back to Korea sooner than anticipated. Did I tell you about this?
No.
The points that we got, you signed up for points, right, in Korean Air?
Oh, you mentioned
I think
this.
it did, actually. Yeah. It's actually vastly cheaper to go to Korea than it is without all those points we gathered. So,
yeah, I have to look into that because I don't know if I had an account or what if that tracked mine or not. I'd be very sad if it didn't. I didn't realize we got so many points with how expensive those tickets were.
Yeah, there's retroactive build. Like, you could retroactively add the points as long as it's within a year or something.
Oh, cool. I wonder if I can just give you mine then.
I don't think you can exchange. Well, I guess you could buy a ticket for it. Well, anyways. Whatever. Point is, that'd be cool. I just, with all the traveling that we do otherwise, it's always difficult to fit it in,
Yeah, I don't have a big desire to go back to Korea unless something really cool comes up. Although I will say, if I could go back in that same style of prestige class, I would. 10 out of 10. That was a good experience. But folks, we are getting into game number 1. I didn't do the intro for this one. My apologies. If it comes up again, we'll definitely play it. But in the bottom right, in this best of 3, we got the blue Terran player aLive.
In the bottom left, as the red Zerg, he is Denver.
Now, of course, as long as you guys are buying Corsair equipment or visiting the Corsair website, they're going to be very happy to keep coming back and doing more and more of this tournament. But as it currently stands, we have this tournament technically budgeted out for a year, and I'm hoping we can actually keep it running for a full year. That reminds me, I need to check on something.
Yeah, so well, you could do that, talking about these players, aLive, I think, is someone that we all know on BaseTradeTV, and if you don't, then it's, that must be your first time, because he's in, like, every single tournament nowadays, usually in the round of 4, if not winning the tournament. Just a really great Terran player, but Denver is someone that has really only recently been on a radar the last 2 weeks. Before it was always, we're going to bring up the last dinosaur, and have a good laugh, blah, 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 but nah, man, he won the Ting EU qualifier against a laser, first place, and then he's now pretty deep in this tournament and looking very good. So it's occasionally happen where it's just someone that you see in the brackets but don't really pay attention to has just this big upswing skill.
I would certainly have to go back and look too to see how far Denver's gotten if he's played in the other cups, because for example, for the BTSL, Bjorn never finished first place, but he's actually in the monthly finals because he played all 3 cups and got decent finishings. Like, that's the whole point of the point reward system where, okay, you might not be making that prize money, but if you're playing consistently and getting far enough, you will still qualify through.
I think he did Jimmy Schmo 9 for the 10-month resub. Almost got my part 2. Almost. Have you sent this month's out yet, by the way, or when are you doing that next batch? At the end of the month.
Okay, because I was gonna say, if when you go back this time, if it's still gonna give you like super expensive things, we can start splitting that again. I mean, I'm reimbursed for those who don't know, like, I reimburse Zombie Grub. Like, if she sends me an invoice for the partoofs and stuff, that's not a problem. But it's one of those things where, like, if shipping to Canada from America is suddenly more expensive again, then I can just start shipping them out on my end. Because what was really stupid was it's actually cheaper for Zombie Grub to send the coins from America to Canada than it was for me to send them from within Canada to other parts of Canada.
It was absurd. Like, Canada was the same as sending it to, like, Germany.
It makes no sense. Thank you, Raving Madness, for that Twitch Prime sub. Glad to have you on board.
Yeah. So we do have some interesting things from both players. Denver's going for a 2-base Spire, which I actually really like, on
But
Cactus Valley, and aLive is going for Mech.
actually, this is curious because this style of mech out of aLive reminds me a lot of what Innovation was doing versus everybody on Whirlwind. And we talked about that. Maybe this is that same mentality where he doesn't want to play any turtley sort of game. He knows it's not going to be an easy to access third. So this brute force, I'm going to hesitate to call it an all-in, but most of the time it ends up being an all-in out of Terran. Could be quite devastating if Denver doesn't. Well, if he doesn't stop it, frankly. The mutas, their timing, there's like big question marks. Certainly the anti-air won't be here, but if all the Hellions and Cyclones kill everything before the mutas clean them up, then what does that matter?
Denver is clearly the new attack. This is the exact same thing that happened. Get attack on the radar. Yen tried this exact same build as an experiment. It tackled the 2-base muta, and it looked like a hard counter. We never got to see Innovation try it, and Innovation's really the master of this build, I would say.
Innovation's the only guy I've seen have this happen where it's failed and he's recovered to a victory. Everyone else, if this gets stopped, they're dead in the water.
Yeah. So we'll see what happens, you know? If 40 drones go down before the mutas can do anything, then who cares? But
this is already... Well, this is already might be doing too much, though, because the mutas, on one hand, like, yes, mutas can potentially clean this up. But so much damage has been dealt in the fact that the defenses were already broken. Cyclones are just targeting down the hatchery. No, they decide to actually kite down some of the mutas. I mean, 3 lock-ons to 1 muta isn't bad, but there's a cooldown and there's a wait period, and you can't easily deal with the air here.
No. No, red drones.
And Hellbat's getting on top.
Oh, no, not like that. Don't run to that.
While that one Hellion might get quite a few things cleaning this up, the Cyclones are no longer targeting the mutas. This has killed a lot of drones, so in a way, this has kind of succeeded for aLive.
Oh, it absolutely has. He's bought so much time too that he has more Cyclones back at home.
Oh, that was
bad as they are versus air.
That should have killed the hatchery. If they killed the hatchery, that would have been the icing on the cake to knock Denver out of the game.
Yeah, it's certainly true, but dang, Denver was close to holding it, and if it was a longer map, or aLive was more hesitant, he probably definitely would have held it. And then the counter would have been a lot more devastating than what it's going to look like right now. If Missile Turret's finishing up, although not in the mineral lines because it's aLive.
Cyclone damage is so bad, dude. Watch 5 of them lock onto the mutas and not kill a single one. Widow Mines, a potential Thor maybe? No, it's all just, it's just bad. Meanwhile, Hellions do clean up the other side of the map. The hatchery does in fact go down, so Denver's been left on 1 base, and it is do or die with the mutas. They have to win the game. It's not even a question of like maybe he can trade out. Like he has to win the game with these mutas.
Yeah, but he's doing a decent job, like making it look like he can. I don't think he is. He's using more drones, but so the Cyclones have a tough time dealing with it, and missile turrets are just barely not done, and even then, there's always a hole somewhere. But Thor's on the way out, Widow Mines are coming out.
Oh, it's actually got to repair that factory. This is a very important pull. GG's get called. aLive takes game number 1.
That was fun.
Yeah. Shamali is asking us a pretty important question in chat, saying, BaseTradeTV, who do I send my info to for a Partoof? You message the channel. Don't whisper. If you guys try to /whisper BaseTradeTV, whispers are off. You'll get blocked. However, if you send a direct message to the channel, we can see that if you're a subscriber very easily. So send us a direct message here. There's a lot of people who are like, and by the way, don't feel cheated or shamed. There's a lot of people who will go like 2 years without realizing that they can send in for a Partoof, and some people just don't want to till later anyways. Whatever floats your boat, just send us a message, and as long as you have been subbed for 1 year, for 12 months, you'll be qualified to get one. And we're not running out anytime soon. that's for certain. Meanwhile, our admin Dare is letting us know that people who are guaranteed to get to the monthly finals based off of points so far are apparently Sort of, Snoot, Optimus, Keen, aLive, Fear, and Neeb. And if Denver wins out over aLive, Denver will actually qualify in.
Oh, okay. That sounds like a fairly balanced finals. That's put us in there.
Yeah. Seeding will be done based off points too, so it's not even going to be like random or anything, but... All right, well, game is starting up, and Daybreak. Daybreak for map number 2.
Pretty standard stuff.
My nose is running all of a sudden. I don't know why.
I wondered if you just made that sound as like a, you know, like crying
It's daybreak, guys. So sad. So sad.
You're gonna follow up with a joke. Then you said yours.
No. Ah, man. I'm gonna grab a tissue. Let's see these intros real quick. I gotta be right back. Top right side of the map. It's gonna be the blue Terran player, aLive.
In the bottom left, as the red Zerg, he is Denver.
Alright, be right back real quick.
Last dinosaur and a city in Colorado. Amazing. So that was a funky game, and there was a couple of things that, like 10-second, 15-second differences. It could have meant the world. Could have meant Denver maybe even wins the game, because if he is 15 seconds faster with the mutas, or aLives later with the cyclones, they clean him up at the choke, and maybe 9 drones go down, but that's I think something he can afford to lose, because then he also counterattacks immediately as opposed to having to clean everything up in the main and natural, and the missile turrets aren't done, so aLive loses probably more SCVs, and then you might be able to snowball from there. It's really close to a Patacti if anyone did watch Nation Wars, Croatia versus Korea. And it, there is that one vulnerability with the opener, is that the Cyclones can't shoot up that much. You can reactor out Widow Mines, and that's great and all, but Widow Mines can only cover certain parts of the area, and you don't get an engineering bay either, so you have to wait for that to finish. So it's vulnerable, but it didn't work out that way. And it ended up that Denver was the most vulnerable, the most important time. I don't think we'll be seeing the same game, though. I mean, technically, either one of them could go for the exact same builds. Although Denver didn't even get a gas, so I guess that's not possible for him. But the point is, it was possible, but unlikely.
I'm back. And Shroom5 says, I still have the envelope for my Partoof. It has Zombie Grub's handwriting on it. How can you tell, though? Because that could just be wrinkles in the paper for all you know. I'm insinuating that Zombie Grub has terrible handwriting.
Yeah. I kind of got that. It wasn't the best for him.
Actually, so here's the thing, right? Like, cliche thing is girls have really nice handwriting. In fact, who was it? Dodger was writing out her anime list and put a tweet out showing it, and it was like the most beautiful, like, calligraphy doodles I've ever seen. And I'm like, okay, that's exactly what you expect out of girls' handwriting. So when we were in Toronto living together, Zombie Grub's like taking these notes, and I'm gonna transcribe them later. And I look at them, and I'm just like, what the fuck? Like, this is the worst shit I've ever seen in my life.
Okay. Again, with this conversation, to my credit, to my defense, my handwriting is not very good, but I was writing in a hurry, and
yeah, with your left hand apparently.
And I wasn't writing on a desk. I was trying to write on my knee, like balancing.
I know, I'm giving you a lot more crap than. I mean, who cares about handwriting anyways? We type nowadays. Hello, it's 2017.
My mom is constantly disappointed in my entire family that we do not have good handwriting. My brothers don't. My dad doesn't.
Your mom, she's like pregnant with you, and she's like practicing calligraphy. She's like, my little girl's gonna have the best handwriting.
She probably thought that, but nope. But yeah, she did. She was forced to, practice calligraphy and.
Oh, did she actually? I was just teasing. Like, I didn't.
Yeah, when she was in school, she went to a Catholic school first of all, so the nuns were smacking her on the knuckles of the ruler. But also, it was a big deal in the '60s to have very good handwriting.
I just remember getting taught handwriting in school thinking like, oh, from what they make this sound like, everybody's going to be doing handwriting when I grow up. Like,
right?
No, I've literally never seen anybody use handwriting ever.
Two flipping biggest lies. Okay, well, the hell I'm trying to get in. There's actually not much to kill, never mind. But I feel like the two biggest lies told me in education system was, one, that I would need to learn cursive for high school, and then I later was told I need to learn it for college. Biggest lie ever. And then second is that this will be unacceptable in the next tier of schools. Like, oh, it's okay if you part your homework in elementary school, but that won't happen in middle school. Oh, it's okay you were late in middle school, but that can't happen in high school. Oh, you missed a class in high school, that can't happen in college. That didn't happen at all. You'd have teachers that were, strict or not strict. You had college teachers that didn't care if you ever turned up to the class at all, as long as you did the work. Like,
I thought you were gonna bring up the permanent record thing.
Oh, I've never been threatened or heard anyone.
This is going on your permanent record.
No, I didn't. I hung out with two. First of all, straight-laced people, and then second of all, I just went to a pretty good school.
I once, I'm not proud of this. I used to have a lot of anger problems growing up. I once threw a chair at our principal. I hated
Jesus.
her so much. So in retaliation to this, she actually had marked down on, like, there's, for those who don't know what we're talking about, there's no real such thing as a permanent record that you hear about on TV and stuff all the time. But I was marked down on my record of just like student activities and stuff that I was a mentally disabled kid who needed a 24/7 helper, and I almost didn't get into my high school because of it.
Damn.
Good times. Anyways, game is finally progressed to the point where production's up and running and attacks are going to be commencing. aLive coming in with 4 Hellions towards that main. It's a little unconventional, but I think that's kind of what he's banking on. Denver would not normally expect this.
It's a better use, I would say, against a Roach player than having the Hellbats with your main army. Like, are you gonna help? Probably not.
Initially, this gets a couple of drones. It's not going to get away with 15 like we were expecting from that first one, right? But 6 drones killed is not bad. Stim's finishing up as we speak, so aLive has also just placed down all of his extra barracks. He's going to be getting those add-ons. His production's kicking off nicely. Maybe a little bit later to the 3rd, but certainly can make up for that with his army.
Oh no, I think I have the hiccups. Oh no! No!
Okay.
How do you stop hiccups from happening?
You hold your breath, drink water, get scared, and sit upside down, I think.
That's how you stop hiccups from happening. I mean, that's how you stop hiccups once you have them, rather.
Oh. We'll tell you, the number one thing you do is you don't think about it. That's for certain.
I think I'm good. I think holding my breath helps. I'm not gonna get them.
Okay, well, while you focus on that very important issue at hand, I'm going to remind people that we'll know whether it worked or not because Zombie Grub verbally says hiccup when she hiccups. I still am not convinced this is real, but she's done it so many times while, like, super wasted drunk that I'm convinced that it's an actual reaction.
Yeah. It's an instinct for me.
Fake it till you make it, right? That's the...
Yeah. So, aLive is at a pretty good position with 1/1 combat shields and a couple of tanks. To move into a person going roaches, though, is always a bit of a danger.
That's actually some, because a couple would just be 2 Zombie Grub, and there's clearly 4 tanks out.
It's a couple of couples.
That's actually true. But you still didn't say that.
Well, that's what I meant.
The second factor comes down outside. I mean, I just want to point out, aLive's base looks amazing. However, this one thing tilts me so badly because there's still room in the main for this other factory. Regardless of any of this, though, a lot of attention being put to aLive. Denver has dedicated a lot to roaches, but what's important here is going to be the tunneling claws on said roaches. This can get underneath tanks, and if that's what he's concerned about, cool. But I don't think this game's going to come down to just tanks for aLive. Like his bio forces, again, that barracks production. Look at it; it's good, it's glorious. This is like the equivalent of eyeball ASMR, I guess, visual simulation of like what looks good, and it's a Terran player with so much production ready to go.
What is the visual term for?
I guess it'd be like those oddly
There's
satisfying
gotta be.
things, like when things slide into other things perfectly and all that.
Yeah, there probably is an acronym for that, but I agree. That's some pretty good SimCity. That's the type that I like to see. That's the type that I try and do. As I said, pushing into a roach player can be sometimes very dangerous because they could be playing like this go up to Broodlord game, but they could also just be maxing on roaches. And if you push into them when they're pushing into you, you actually probably lose without your tanks being sieged and without your upgrades being done, because Denver does have faster upgrades as well as Tumbling Claws on the way. And if he wanted to, he could make a bigger army. Just max out. aLive is being patient. He's getting his tank count up. He's getting his upgrades. He's waiting for his maxed army.
Yeah, looks like we got a bit of a Liberator setup down here, but it's not really positioned to do much. Biking up here to this side. We had a couple of subs, by the way, while this is going on. Thank you very much to Ulian. Ulian for the 14 months. Welcome to space! It was a new sub, and then Bajarnia, 1, 2, 3. I don't know. Thank you for the 2 months back to back. But the attack does commence, and aLive's ready to go at the top of this ramp, not at the bottom. Choke, though, is going to favor the Terran. Lots of guns firing and a huge concave, and of course, tank shots shell away at Denver's army. Denver, by the way, does not have a great standing army. Army supply looks good, but this is all roaches and ravagers, baby, and this is not what you want to have.
Yeah, I think you should have added on Infestors a bit earlier, and then on top of that, right, you'll probably be adding on the Hive. Its player is not going to break aLive defensively.
This is kind of cool, actually. I like the idea of the Infestors. We were talking about that just earlier. I'm not sure if that'll work, though, because we talked about this, too, where tanks, 70 damage a shot without upgrades, are going to keep those Infestors from getting anywhere close enough to fungal growth. Or should, at least.
Done appropriately, I think aLive does have the better army and is in the better position, but it's always a chance. If Fungals hits, Stunning Claws get underneath very stacked tanks. It's going to be about positioning, but aLive is playing the correct game against what Denver is doing, even if it's an older style of playing, and it's looking fine.
Apparently our cheese emote is the best emote EU. Thank you, Hiwu, that resub.
It just sounds like, you know, the other sound that Bender's Fat makes. Sorry. I hope you take that as a compliment. So aLive still feels a little bit scared to push out into an army that's clearly prepared for him down a choke, but his army is good enough to do it, and he will want to secure this 4th base.
Ooh, that was a big catch.
Stance.
2 kills on Infestors and waste the energy of the 3rd. Drop goes off to the 3rd while this goes on as well, and this is not so great for Denver. I mean, it's impressive because you look at a glance, like the upgrades are there, the army supply is there, the creep spread, the bases, like I have so much more faith in aLive's army and his control. Unless Denver gets an amazing fungal growth that combos really well with some corrosive biles. That missile turret, that's nice. He knows what's up. Scans to clean up the rest, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. 34 supply up in terms of army, and aLive, it's just got a force that can't be touched, I feel. And he's still dropping while this goes on too.
The Broodlords will not be ready in time, even if aLive took his time to siege up, which he should. Even then, I don't think the Greatest Bear could be done with Broodlords also finished. And Denver needs them right here, right now, defending his 4th base.
Well, this attack, pretty vicious. He's eaten a couple of the corrosive biles, but the tanks stood up, so do the Liberators. Denver's maxing out on 29 roaches, so the army supply tab is very deceptive. It looks okay, but it's not. He knows it too. GG's, aLive, gonna go through to the finals. Corsair Cup, hype, TVP. So I love this, by the way. We got the Corsair Cup on the European server for the European players with a Korean versus North American in the finals. Nailed it. But alright, folks.
Good job.
Unfortunately, I think Denver will no longer be able to qualify for the monthly finals. I'll get our admin Darius to update with me points when he gets back. I know he's gone to go AFK for a bit, but we'll give them the option of playing on North America. The default is Europe, so if they can't agree for somewhere to play, we will just force them to play in Europe, which is a bit silly because it's, again, 2 different players from 2 different regions. However, we'll find out what their preference is. First map of the finals is going to be Belshire Vestige, and we'll see you guys in a couple of minutes when we come back from this break. Oh, also, thank you to Ice8 for the 4-month resub. I love these new subscriber icons. Me too, man. Me too. We'll see you guys soon.